This is Digital Breakthroughs, putting the spotlight on cutting-edge digital marketing strategies for your business.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Digital Breakthroughs podcast. This is slightly special because this time I am not a guest. I am your guest host. So I am Matt Erickson. I'm the Director of Marketing for National Positions. And today I'm going to be interviewing our CEO, Bernard May. At least say hello, Bernard.
Hello, and it's great to be on the other side of the mic this time around. Super excited. We're at the end of 2020, and we're all waiting to have a better year as we move into 2021. So I can't wait to talk a little bit about how to plan and how to be successful in 2021, and roll up my new framework that I've been working on.
Yeah. So how's it feel to be in the hot seat this time? You don't usually you have to plan all this, and now I get to throw you under the bus and see what happens.
Well, I'm excited to be on the other side just to see what it's like.
Awesome. Well, so yeah, this is something we're the company as a whole, we've been really excited about what we're going to talk about today, which is the new framework going into 2021, because a lot of times on these podcasts and in blogs and articles, we get to talk about new features of services or features of products or what trends are going to come, which is great. And that's all fantastic. We've covered a lot of that. And we're going to be releasing even more of that information as we get closer to the end of 2020 and as we break into 2021. But we really wanted to talk about a new kind of framework that we're going to be introducing that's going to, it doesn't matter if you're doing SEO or you're doing PPC or what the kind of campaign is, but something that any brand or any marketer out there can use to really beef up their marketing for 2021 and make it way more impactful, even though we had all of these roadblocks in 2020. So I'm going to kick it over to Bernard to introduce this new framework that we're really excited about. Bernard, it's all yours.
Yeah, and maybe just talking about why you need a framework. So just like if you, if you're a pilot or you're a doctor in an emergency room, having a checklist, knowing what areas you should be looking at is something that's super helpful. So that's why we put it together, because we kept speaking to clients and everybody at National Positions had a slightly different way of presenting strategy. And then I've also felt like everyone's in their little areas of expertise. So you mentioned pay-per-click and SEO, and I think people go down a certain rabbit hole, and having a framework kind of pulls you out of that. So you can see the big picture. You can get down to that, you get back up to the 10,000 foot area, looking down at your business and deciding how it works. So what we've done is we built out this framework to have 5 different steps in it. And it uses the acronym GRACE, GRACE. And I think we all need a little bit of grace, a little bit of, help from maybe some other source out there for a good year coming up. But the G stands for a growth plan. And it is all about the strategic planning around your business. It has everything to do with digital marketing, but it also has to do with looking at areas that are high level, like, hey, how's my pricing look? How does my competitive analysis look? And where should I be putting more of my effort and time and resources this year? And where should I segment my business? And which is the area that's going to give me least issues with, from a competitive standpoint, have the greatest opportunity for growth? And then,
so really quickly on that.
Like
so on growth plans. So what we're really talking about there, before we're getting into any specific, let's just say tactical things, it's really taking scope of what you have to work with and how the market has changed, so you have something to apply down the road. It's really that strategic approach.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a really great point. How has the market changed? A lot of clients of ours that I've seen kind of set the strategy and then they expect the strategy to continue. But as you know, in the digital world, a particular year is probably like 7 years, kind of like dog years. Mm-hmm. It's rapidly changing. Every quarter is different. And so you really need to do this reset point at the end of the year or at the beginning of the next year to say, well, what's changed? Who's entered the market from a competitive situation? Is our unique selling proposition still unique? Are the products that we're selling, do they still resonate with people out there? Is our price point right? All those kinds of things.
I think you hit a very important point there. And I think this shows in 2020, maybe more than any other year, which you had, is our unique selling prop still unique? Because you may have had a plan at the end of 2019, you finally got to execute it in Q2 of 2020. But what your customers really care about has shifted. So you may have to go, well, that was a great idea then, but does that really matter now?
And so let's assume you've handled all this. Oh, and one other area as well is just like really understanding your ideal customer. We call that a persona, the idealistic view of your customer out there. That probably has changed. A lot has changed because of COVID. And we are going into probably the first half of the year still being impacted by COVID. But let's assume you've got all this kind of review of your market done. That is G for out of grace. Then we get to R, which is reach. How do you reach your clients out there? And this is talking about areas like your media effectiveness. And we spoke in our last episode of our podcast about omni-channel. Being, many channel. What channels are you using? How effective are those channels? How competitive are those channels? What about your owned media, as in your website and your Facebook social and Instagram social and LinkedIn and other areas that you own, and then your earned media, like your influencers and your YouTube followers and things like that? What they look like? How are we doing there? And then, of course, paid media. How well is paid done? What kind of ROI are we getting? What do our landing pages look like? And then what's our acquisition plan going to be with all these different channels at our disposal? Which one are we going to choose, and which one will be most successful for us as we go into 2021? So
with reach, I mean, again, I don't want to keep coming back to 2020, but we have to take what we learned in 2020. Yeah. And so this could be very simply that, hey, maybe in 2019, just because the way people had evolved with how they're finding things online, maybe your best source at that time was just straight up SEO. Maybe that was it. But now, because of either lockdowns or people just not wanting to go out, or just the change in behavior a lot of people have had to adapt to, they may be discovering you differently. It may be social now. It may be now they're more concerned with availability, so they're looking at those ads maybe the way they weren't before. So how you're reaching that persona, maybe even 6 months ago, has changed for the new year.
Yeah, and the market has changed so much. I mean, who even thought about TikTok in 2019? They've come from nowhere. Something we want to look at. Amazon. I mean, who didn't get tons of packages from Amazon this year? They've grown, and they're a force to be reckoned with if you're doing e-com. Google has made so many changes. There's been a ton of updates happening on Facebook and Instagram that we're really excited about. And just overall, these channels are not staying static. So we need to look at those, and we've got to, just like you would with your portfolio, a financial portfolio, you got to decide, are we going to move into buying more gold this year, or are we going to get more stocks or foreign investments or whatever? Same thing here. You're going to kind of balance your portfolio of where you're going to put your budget in building traffic.
That's probably the best. I was speaking with someone, I think it was working on an article for Forbes or something, or a question for Forbes. And I used almost the exact same analogy, because I think one thing that this year showed, it really comes into R on grace, on reach, which is now it's not even about, am I getting enough clients? It's, am I getting enough in enough differentiated places? So if something happens, I don't have all my eggs in that basket, and I can go, okay, well, if you have a retail place, you have to, be on e-com. If you're on Amazon, if something were to happen with your profile there, are you selling on your own website? So you want to have your reach differentiated as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on to the next one, if you don't mind. The next area is A for ACT. And this is all about how people interact with your website, your owned, the areas that you own. So typically we're talking about the website, but also your social media, maybe even your YouTube channel. You want to be very conscious of this, and you want to be looking at the customer journey. When we were speaking to our Google reps earlier in the year, one of the things that really struck me, and I wrote this down, and I think it's something to pass on to everybody, is like, put your visitor at the center of everything.
Yeah.
I think one of the mistakes, and we spoke about this when we were talking about content in one of our earlier podcasts, is that a lot of companies talk about themselves. So one of the shifts this year is really to look at that customer journey and say, well, what are people thinking about at the top of the funnel? What are they thinking about in the middle of the funnel? Do I have answers for all of those things? And not only being at the bottom of the funnel where it's like buy now or fill out a lead form or something like that. We want to just capture them all the way through and really care about that experience. And then the next area, which is so critical, is mobile. Like 60, 70%. I mean, you look at your Google Analytics for that number, but more than 50% of all of those people visiting your sites are on mobile devices. What does that experience look like? Are people able to navigate easily on this small phone and get to what they want to get to? So those are some of the areas that we really care about. Data is really important to kind of pinpoint this, getting into Google Analytics, understand your content marketing, and then really having a good strategy around your landing pages as well.
Yeah. So you have so in A in Grace, I kind of see both sides of it, because we have, act, which is obviously we want to see, know how people are acting. So that's also the actions that people are going to be taking, and focusing that not just as a whole, like, are they acting on that form? Are they clicking buy? That's kind of almost, even though we were only talking about that about 8 months ago, that's almost the old way of thinking now. Now it's what actions are they taking, and how are they acting at every step of the funnel to get them down the funnel, so it's better for them and it's better for the brands.
Yeah, I was reading Jeff Bezos, a book about Jeff Bezos, and if you think about the way that Amazon has built their business, it's all about being so focused on what the consumer cares about. Yeah. Now, maybe they've gone to an extreme where it's all about the customer and not necessarily the people working there. But by putting the customer first, making sure that they've reduced the time of delivery, that you could easily return products, that your satisfaction is guaranteed, essentially. Mm-hmm. They're the biggest. I mean, Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world for a darn good reason. And so that's a message we need to take and really consider as we go into 2021, is just like, how can we, and this goes all the way to the very end. What's our customer service like? And how do people perceive us? So there's a lot that could happen there. Live chat, we'll get into in a moment. I mean, that's another area. In fact, should I just jump into the next section?
I was going to say, so kind of bringing this down the line. So we have growth strategy that we've started with. Now we've got that sort of in place as much as we can. Now we focused on those actions we focused on the reach and those audience personas that are influenced by that growth strategy we have. And now we've gone all the way down to focusing on we're kind of bringing that down the funnel to the action we want them to take, and the actions that they do take. Yeah. What comes next after all that?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. So like, we've driven traffic. Now we want people to interact. And I think this is the next part is about conversion. That's the C in Grace. This is a part, this whole act and convert area is an area that I see a lot of weakness in our client base, and an area that we really, really want to focus on in 2021. So when it comes to conversion, it's all about really one area is personalizing. People want to feel like when they come to a website or come to a page or get an email, that it's personalized to their need, that they're not just getting some kind of generic type of content.
Yeah.
And then the next area is that they want to land on a page that has a great experience. We spoke about mobile, but just the entire website. Like, what's the experience for me on this site? Am I getting the information that I want? And that we're focusing on conversion rate optimization. So I know we had an episode on that as well, but conversion rate optimization, the whole idea is, as you go into 2021, you don't have to spend a cent more on advertising budget or media spend. but you could double your business if you could just double your conversion rate. So
Yeah.
just putting time into putting programs like our conversion growth pack, which allows you to do real-time video views or heat mapping, send out, surveys. Someone's on an exit out of the website and they're, what is that? What is the view? What does it seem to the user? What is the experience that they had? Why are they abandoning? And just ask them those questions. Form analytics, understanding the fields on a form, where are people getting stuck? And these are just all things that are never ending. You should always be doing split testing. You should do A/B test and try and identify where issues exist. And so that whole journey and that whole conversion part is so well worth investigating. And there's something that I wanted to also mention that maybe we've mentioned in previous podcasts, but there's a big algorithm update that's going to happen in 2021 in May. It's called the Core Web Vitals update by Google.
Yes.
And this one is all about how the web pages paint. And so you might say, well, what does that mean, painting? But it's the way that if you've ever noticed, especially on mobile, when you've got a slow loading page and things start popping up and the page bounces up and down and it takes a long time to interact, those are the types of things that Google's trying to wipe out.
Yeah, which all comes down to experience, like you were mentioning earlier. It's that keeping as pristine as experience as possible.
Yeah, and then load speed is absolutely critical. So there are people that are going to have to throw their websites out as we go into 2021 that just are not salvageable because they're not going to really work with Core Web Vitals to the extent that we want them to.
And I think this comes back, for years, 3 years ago, we were saying you want to be, I think a lot of marketers were saying your website should be mobile optimized. And then a year after that, it was you want a mobile first. And that was coming as up to last year, where it's like, you need to focus on mobile first and then the desktop second. And this is kind of the cornerstone. It's going to knock if you just kind of piecemealed it together the whole way, this is like, okay, you may have to start from scratch, but sometimes that's better than not. But hitting this conversion point, so you're talking about if someone's doing PPC, let's say, pay-per-click advertising, let's say on Google, a lot of times, a lot of brands we work with and beyond that, if I have more clicks, I'll get more conversions. If I just get more and more, and it's not about getting more and more, it's about optimizing what you have. So that's where you have to have that data to try to, do the best you can with what you got and trying to convert more of that investment you already have into more profits and more revenues. Same thing on SEO. If you can just convert more of your traffic, then you don't have to focus so much on trying to get, your site into, get more links and more paid sources. You're just trying to optimize what you have. Exactly. So, which can be a strategy in and of itself, for sure. You could have everything else in line, but if you're not converting, what is all that worth? So we have our growth strategies, we have our reach, we have our actions from our audience personas, conversion, which may be the biggest bottleneck. But how do we wrap up Grace here? What comes at the end?
So the last part is, we've driven the traffic, we've converted the traffic. Now what? And I also think this is an area that a lot of people forget about. The E in Grace at the end there stands for engage. So the best customers to target are your existing customers. So this talks about getting that email marketing out and remarketing to people. It's retargeting your existing customers. It's having an incredible customer experience. Like if someone comes to your website, well, if you've got live chat, is someone manning that live chat when it says it's available? Is someone considering the onboarding? Like if you've got bad reviews, no one wants to kind of repurchase from you, or if you've had a bad experience, they write bad things about you. So some of those things are kind of outside of digital marketing, but they impact digital marketing in a really big way.
Sure, but
And
the engagement you have, with your clients after the conversion, which is where most brands tend to go, great, we've converted and we're done. But we all know that thing, it costs 10 times more to get a new client than it does to, keep
yeah,
your old clients. So you, this could go into just the lifetime value that you get out of each and every customer.
that's exactly right. How do you get more out of your existing customers? Email marketing. I don't know if this is the last statistic I've read, 40-to-1 return on investment. Why? Because email marketing is so cheap and you're already marketing to people that are engaged or opted into your business. They're people that you know about. Also, another thing I'm excited about is feeding that data into the model. So feeding it back to the machine learning so that you can say, oh, these are our great customers. Let's get more of those customers. But certainly this engage part is an area that you really need to build into the model. Oftentimes, when it comes to B2C or D2C, direct to consumer, the email list is the most valuable thing you have. So you're an apparel client and you're pushing people into purchasing, for that very first purchase of some clothing. And then you want to get out there and just keep selling to them over and over and over again. And that acquisition cost is near zero. So that is the holy grail of marketing, and it's the end of grace. So
Grace
that's
never ends. There's no end to grace.
So that's kind of walked you a little bit through the model. We do have this model available to all of our clients, so please reach out to our client partner team or our to anyone who's you interact with at National Positions. Everyone is familiar with it, can walk you through it, can provide you with the framework. And so very, very excited about this, because I know if we embrace it and we keep thinking about it and we look for the weaknesses, that's the part, is to like almost audit your business, look for the areas that you're strong, but also look for the areas where you haven't really considered it. Maybe you're weak in the customer journey. Maybe you're weak in live chat or email marketing or social media, whatever it is. And this audit, this framework is going to give you that view. So as you go into 2020, you're going to like hit all the high notes and you're going to be successful.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, with everything we saw in 2020, and believe, we put out a lot of our own content on every month when things were going on with COVID, like, here's what you can do this month and this month and this month. I think getting back to some kind of home base is what a lot of people are needing right now. Something that they can focus on. It really doesn't, again, if they're doing omni-channel, great. SEO, great. PPC, great. But this is a framework that, we can, I'm sure that we're going to have a one sheet on it shortly, kind of a synopsis to, that we can, provide you if you want to look and do it yourself. But again, we put all of our clients through this. We're going to be putting our current clients and our new clients through this whole program, because we've already seen the results in Q4 of 2020, even amidst the pandemic. And we were blown away by what we were seeing from it. So if you want to email Bernard, how can they reach you if they wanted to reach you directly?
So you can literally just email me at bmay@nationalpositions.com, BMAY, nationalpositions.com. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn if you'd like. It's pretty easy to find. I have an unusual name, so it's easy to find me on LinkedIn. And I just wanted to wish everyone a very, very successful 2021. Thank you for, your faith in National Positions in 2020. We just excited about where we're going in 2021. We use this framework. We hope you'll embrace it as well and see the benefit in it. And as Matt said, there's a lot of opportunity, and this has helped a lot of our existing clients that have used the framework. So hope more people will take it up, use it, and go and take their business to new heights.
Well, I can't think of a better way to wrap this podcast up than what you just said. I have nothing better to add other than everyone stay happy, stay healthy, stay productive in 2021, and we can't wait to see you there. Thanks again for joining us on the Digital Breakthroughs podcast, our last one of the year, and we can't wait for what's coming in 2021.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
With your host, CEO of industry-recognized digital marketing and social media agency, National Positions, Bernard May. You've been listening to Digital Breakthroughs, featuring experts in all the areas of cutting-edge digital marketing. Digital Breakthroughs is hosted by Bernard May, CEO of leading social media and digital marketing agency, National Positions, located online at nationalpositions.com.